obviously probably not quite in a position that you'd like to be right now, fair to say, but early in the season, I mean, how is the, I guess, the confidence, how is the group feeling, I guess, after the three losses?
I think the morale's still high in our group, and we know that definitely against the Thunderbirds and Mavs, we had control of the game at times, and it's just about making sure that we're putting out a full 60-minute performance, because any team in this league, you can be at the bottom of the ladder and you can beat a top team. So we've got to make sure we bring our A game every single week, and definitely not the position we want to be in, but there is a positive. We are sitting fifth. There are 3 teams on the same points of us, but we do have a good percentage. So we're only sitting 1 win outside the 4, and we've just got to make sure this weekend we put our best performance forward and make sure we get that win.
I know after Thunderbirds you're like, well, we cost ourselves that game because of how we played in that first quarter. But I feel like the Mavericks one probably hurt you for a bit after that game.
It definitely hurt. We had that game control. We did some review for, I think, 54 minutes of the game, and there was, I think, in the moments in that third quarter that we were sitting 8 goals up and we could have pushed it out to 10, and they're the things and the plays that, if you want to be a premiership winning team, they're the moments that you've got to make sure you take and don't let a team that were on a roll get back into the game.
So simply must win, is it, this week? And as you said, you can't underestimate any team no matter what they are, but you simply have to win this week.
Yeah, that's definitely, I think from now on we want to make sure that we're winning every single game and taking each game as it comes, and Giants have some serious firepower across their whole court, and yes, they haven't had a win for the season, but we can't take them lightly at all, and make sure that we put our best performance forward, best performance of the season so far, to make sure we get that win.
How's, I know you were carrying an ankle injury, how are you going?
Yeah, I was joking around, you don't need ligaments in your ankle, so it's totally fine, strap him up. I've improved over the past 2 weeks since the injury against the fever, but bounced back, and we're all good.
In that last game, towards the end there, you're ahead by 4 goals with 50 odd seconds to go, and the same in that third quarter as well. What is it? What do you need to do to just not lose or not go backwards from those positions? How hard is it to get that so that it doesn't happen?
I do think in that, reflecting on that Mavs game against the Mavericks, I think there was a little bit of protection we went into instead of making sure that we're attacking the game. And I think if that's what people speak about, we don't protect a lead, we push a lead out. But look, it was tough, but they're the moments that we can't put ourselves in, and we've just got to make sure we go with confidence, and we got to that lead for a reason, and just making sure we push them out.
With those 2 close games, we could hear today talking about 3 out of 4 wins. It's a fine line, isn't it? And is it difficult to come back from that?
Oh, I mean, you've got to look at, we're one win from 4 games, and that's not an ideal spot for us to be in, but there's been so much positive stuff that has come out of our game so far, but it's focusing on the games that we can control going forward.
There's been a lot, I was talking to you before we started this, about the 2-minute suspension rule. It's being cracked down in New Zealand, in the UK, not here. We've seen some instances where it could have been implemented. As a former diamond, a diamond, whichever way you like to look at it, could that affect the Diamonds when they play international games, that they're playing a different style and will be penalised? Could find themselves losing because of it?
Speaking from experience from me, being in that Diamonds environment, you do know different umpires umpire different, and from different countries, New Zealand to England to South Africa, umpires they umpire a little bit different. So I think it's something that you need to be aware of, but I don't think it's just the Diamonds. I think we've got a whole bunch of internationals in our league at the moment that when they go play international, it's something that might need to be addressed when they go into their international commitments.
Is there anything you're focusing on in training ahead of this weekend's game?
Focus is probably a big thing. Like I said before, we had control for 54 minutes, and we need to make sure we have control for 60 minutes. So, and it's just execution for us execution for us in pivotal moments is a big thing. So B and Jeno put us under a lot of pressure at training, and I actually kind of love it. You get a little bit of tension between attack and defence, and that's actually really important for us. So when we get out in a game, we're making sure that we've lived that at training, so it's not foreign to us out in the game.
After a loss like that, what do you say to the girls?
We focus on positives as well, and we look at the areas that we can improve on. But like I've said before, it's not like we're not succeeding in the game. We had control for 54 minutes. It's us just making sure that we keep that focus for 60 minutes, but we don't get too bogged down in the things that we did wrong. We also focus on the things we did really well.
This might be a hard question to answer, Steph, but obviously...
I'll give it a go.
Last year there was a couple of close losses as well. I do remember one here specifically against the Swifts. But do you think you're playing better this year in those close losses than you were last year?
Well, it's probably hard, on the spot. But we've had, last year we had a lot of close losses, and again this year. So it's probably for us, and we've got the firepower in our team to know how to win those games. It's just about executing our game plan to make sure that even in those pivotal moments, you go back to what your role is. But I definitely think we're playing really good netball, and netball that can beat any team in this league.
And teams are lifting against you, which you were always going to expect, weren't you?
We're the hunted. I think we've said it right at the beginning. We are, when you put the list that we have been able to put together, we are a team that everyone's going to want to beat, and that's something that we walk towards, and we've got to make sure we start putting out those 60-minute performances.
Coming off 3 straight losses with a team, I guess, that probably didn't want to be in this position at this part of the season. And what's been your message? What have you been trying to make the girls realise going forward from here?
Yeah, look, it's been a mixed bag. Obviously, the first couple of results, really happy with the Swifts game. Fever, I thought we weren't good that week, but I think against the Thunderbirds and the Mavericks, that we, for most parts of the game, played a really good brand of netball. So, yeah, exactly what Steph said, taking out the positives of those things. Obviously, we've been under the pump with a few injuries in those games as well, so just managing that. But I have full faith in the full 10 that we've got, so just being better in those critical moments in games.
Courtney Bruce, what's the latest on a calf? Is she any chance of playing this week? Or?
Yeah, so unfortunately, Courtney got taken out of the game early in that fourth quarter with that calf tightness. So we're doing everything we can, wrapping our arms around Cordo. So she's been for scans. We're meeting with the medical team. We obviously have to submit the team list tomorrow. So we give all of our athletes every opportunity to get up for the game, but we'll get the final word from our medical team today.
So what happens if she doesn't play? I mean, obviously you've got that 11th player, but are you kind of down someone as well? Or?
Yeah, obviously Ava has also suffered that ankle injury. So Ava's with the specialist doctor in Brisbane today, so we'll have some further information from the Ava injury today as well. So yeah, we can activate our 11th player, which is Maddie, and we have full faith that Maddie's got that SSN experience to do the job. But then if Courtney also comes up with the scan and is ruled out, then we have to look to our training partner pool, which we also have great depth there as well, with a lot of SSN experience in Shannon and Annie and Charlie. So yeah, we'll see what the final word is today, and then look to our training pool if we need to this weekend.
What's the verdict on her injury?
Yeah, so Hazel's got an ankle sprain at the end of that game. Hers wasn't as bad as Ava's, thank goodness. So again, she'll have a test tonight, and then we'll know after the main training tonight whether Hales gets up for the game this weekend.
If you go without Ava, Courtney and Harley, I mean, that's obviously really out, particularly, can't lie, particularly Courtney's a massive out. As you said, some other girls will have to step up.
Yeah, obviously we have been hit hard with injury at the beginning of this season, but like I said, we have full faith in the depth of this squad, and those training partners, they're in our training environment all the time, challenging us, so I think they'll step up if given the opportunity.
The Giants as a team over the years too that we've come to sort of see in the premiership hunt, it's quite surprising that they are where they are on the ladder. I mean, is this a danger game? Because obviously they're desperate to win.
Yeah, we're expecting a really fired up Giants chasing their first win, but we also know how important this win is to our season, so I expect it to be another tough battle. I was really pleased with our start this weekend, so hopefully we can start the game really well and take it to the Giants to put them under pressure, especially with shooting those twos.
I imagine you're just as desperate to win as they are, so it sort of cancels it out a bit.
Yeah, absolutely. There'll be fire in the belly for both teams, but I think what we need to take into it is that pressure and that fire, but also that calm, because I think that's been the big learning over the last 2 games, is to remain composed and calm in our attack.
Is it frustrating as a coach, you've got these star players and some good other players in the team as well, that they're not where you would want them to be?
Oh, I don't think it's that they're not where we want them to be. I think it's just still gelling new combinations, which a lot of teams are in the same boat. But again, with the injury front, we probably haven't had them at training as much as we'd like.
How's the team's confidence ahead of this weekend?
I think the team's confidence is actually really good. We're all getting around each other. Like we said, we've played predominantly good netball the last 2 games, so taking that confidence into this challenge. And we know we have some really good individual champions, but I think those combinations are starting to come together now.
The Harley Cassidy there, that incident, probably cost you the game, well, amongst other things, but it was one of the factors. Soccer, they have VAR, rugby league, captain's challenge, reviews in cricket. Is that something that could be brought in for netball, do you think?
I'm actually on the rules of the game committee for netball, so it was on the discussion table the last meeting. So it's certainly something that the sport is looking at, but weighing up the pros and cons of those things and making sure that it is worthwhile the investment. But I certainly think there's a place for it in our sport.
And how would it work, you think? Would it be something maybe just you can only do it in the last 5 minutes? Would you leave it to the players to challenge, or would it should be reserved by coaches so that there's no sort of rash decisions made? How would it work?
We haven't gone that deep into conversation yet, but I think certainly we don't want it to slow our game down too much, because that is the beauty of netball. But I certainly think there's a time and a place, so maybe 1 or 2 challenges per game or something like that. But I think it's something that the committee will look to this year, ready for next year.
It could be add to the entertainment in some ways without slowing it down. It could be, if it's on the game's on the line on that decision, this challenge, well, it could be quite exciting being in the crowd. Maybe not so much for a coach that does the wrong challenge.
No, look, I think, again, we have to weigh up the pros and cons. So there would be more drama, but probably more attention in the social media after the games as well. But look, we'll see if the investment in that technology is worthwhile, and I hope to see it included in our game next year.
Belinda, I asked Steph this as well. Obviously, there was a few close losses last year as well in some games. From the coach's perspective, do you think the team, obviously there's been some changes, but do you think the team's playing better in the close losses than they were in the last year? Like, was there maybe a bit more of an element of that they were lucky to get back into some of those games last year?
Look, I think we're getting better and better of that each and every training as well as every year. So obviously those learnings from last year we've taken into this year, and I think I'm continually putting them under scenarios at training. But like Steph said, I think it's just the focus in those critical moments. So we've put in some challenges. The defenders and the attackers have got score lines that they need to meet at training. Just extending drills and those types of things. So hopefully the focus we can stretch out to the full 60 minutes this week.
And I guess while losing becomes a habit, winning becomes a habit too. This would be a good one to get, because you're going to the Vixens away, which will be a hard game the week after as well. So suddenly, rather than worrying about 5 losses in a row, you could be sort of going into that Vixens game looking for back-to-back wins, which would be obviously the better scenario.
Yeah, it's all right to say most parts of our game are looking good, but at the end of the day, you need wins on the board, and early wins are critical. We know how good every single team is, so we certainly are looking for the win this week. And the girls are really hungry for it, and I think if we stick to the game plan and work consistently for 60 minutes, then we should get the job done.
And these are the tough bits of sport, aren't they? I mean, sport's not meant to be easy. It's not for everyone, and these are the tough times, isn't it? Trying to get out of these holes sometimes.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the biggest thing about the losses is I think you really delve into the learnings from those games more so than you do if you win. So I think those learnings are forefront in our mind, and we're looking to rectify them this week.